Worst Run NHL franchises, Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres were once again one of the worst teams in the entire league last season. This episode will highlight the history of the Buffalo Sabres, as well as some of the misfortune of the Sabres, and some poor personnel choices they made. The Sabres were lucky entering the league as an expansion team because they lucked into the number 1 overall pick. The consensus number 1 pick in the 1970 draft was junior phenom Gilbert Perreault. Despite Perreault winning Rookie of the Year in 1970, the Sabres still missed the playoffs. The French connection was established after the Sabres drafted Rick Martin in the 1971 draft and acquired Rene Robert from Pittsburgh. From 1981 to 1996, the Buffalo Sabres were almost often outmatched by their division rivals. The Sabres would usually finish in the middle of their division, which would line them up against the Montreal Canadiens or the Boston Bruins in the conference finals. The era saw the Sabres lose to the division rivals Boston, Quebec Nordiques, and Montreal Canadiens in the first round a combined 8 times. Fast forward to 1991, where the Sabres traded. Pierre Turgeon was traded to the New York Islanders for Pat LaFontaine in 1991 as part of a blockbuster trade. Behind the system brought to Buffalo by head coach Ted Nolan and the stellar goaltending of Dominic Hasek, the Sabres were dubbed the hardest working team in hockey. The Sabres had a stellar 96-97 campaign. Dominic Hasek won both the Hart and Vezina trophies. Ted Nolan won the Jack Adams Award. Michael Pekka won the Selke Trophy. And John Muckler won the Executive of the Year. The regular season success would turn out to be the Sabres' downfall. Despite having their most successful season in nearly 20 years, Sabres fired their reigning Executive of the Year and Coach of the Year. In June of 2001, Michael Pekka was traded to the New York Islanders for Tim Connolly and Taylor Pyack. Captain Michael Pekka sat out the 2000-2001 season due to a contract dispute. Later, Pekka was traded to the New York Islanders in June of 2001 for Tim Connolly and Taylor Pyack. After a lengthy and failed negotiation with star goaltender Dominic Hasek, the Sabres traded Hasek to the Detroit Red Wings in the summer of 2001. Fast forward to the summer of 2007. After losing both Daniel Briere and Chris Drury to free agency, the Sabres had to match the offer sheet for Thomas Vanek, which was 7 years at $7.1 million per season. On January 29th, 2011, Terry Pegula became the owner of the Buffalo Sabres. In the summer of 2011, the Sabres made major waves in free agency. The Sabres signed Billy Leno to a 6-year deal worth $4.5 million per season. Christian Ehrhoff was signed to a 10-year deal worth $4 million per season. These contracts killed the team for a long time. Fast forward to the 2014-2015 season. The Sabres tanked the 2014-2015 season in the hopes of landing Connor McDavid. Unfortunately, they did not win the draft lottery. As a result, the Sabres ended up getting Jack Eichel, who was a great player but no Connor McDavid. After missing the playoffs for the 6th straight season in the 2016-2017 season, the Sabres fired head coach Dan Bylsma and GM Tim Murray. The Buffalo Sabres finished with the worst record in the league for the 3rd time in 5 seasons, but this time they would win the draft lottery. With the number 1 pick in the 2018 draft, the Sabres drafted Rasmus Dahlin, who looks to be a game-changing defenseman. The Buffalo Sabres have been dreadful since losing Daniel Briere and Chris Drury. Since then, they have been a perennial bottom feeder in the league. This is why the Buffalo Sabres are one of the worst run franchises in the NHL. Next, I'll be doing best run franchises on the Detroit Red Wings.